What's going on, guys? Welcome everybody to this edition of the Monster Cast Hump Day Happy Hour.
Woo!
Mason,
Hey,
how are you?
everybody got
How
their
are we?
happy hour ready? All right.
You got
Got
my
my
drink?
kitty drink right here.
What are you drinking, Mason?
Drinking some cream soda, a little bit different from the usual. I didn't have any grape soda, so working with what we got here.
Shane, what are you drinking?
It's an old recipe from my grandmother. It's basically bourbon and sweet tea. It's Jack Daniels and sweet tea. Homebrew sweet tea. The tea recipe is very special though, but
That's
got a little nip in it.
just a certain amount of sugar to go with the tea.
Yeah. Yes.
See, I went plain. I'm just Captain and Coke. So, well,
Plain
I
Jane.
guess, while we wait for our guest, how's quarantine going in Florida and San Diego?
Florida is like business as usual, it seems, outside. Everybody's people are wearing some masks and you can't find any hand sanitizer anywhere, but it seems to be back to normal ish. I think a lot more people are getting okay, I've been in for 14 days, I'm gonna go for a drive in my car now. So
My
what
wife-
about you, Mace?
Well, for me, it's roughly about the same. It's not as much traffic as we've had in downtown San Diego for sure. And just, helping out, drive my mom out here and there. Pretty dead lately. I mean, my hair's been getting pretty rough, actually. Haven't been able to get a haircut for I don't know how long since first quarter started, growing out a fro again. Might actually end up going with what I told Jim I would never do last year. Try to get one of those hairdos where it looks like my hair just lifted up like a flat top, but I have this pulled out so it looks like a full-on hat.
Oh,
some people-
do it. Do it.
Yeah, that would be so pimp.
Oh yeah, just wear a little flat bill going around for 2021. Something
Oh.
stupid, What about you, Cam?
Well, Oklahoma, I live in such a small town that it hasn't looked any different the whole time. I mean, you can't tell the difference where I live. I mean, there's only 8 cars on the road when you go into town, but normally there's only 9, so it's really not that big of a deal. And no, I am not growing that top haircut for 2021. For one, the top of my hair won't hardly grow. So,
Oh, did you already start?
yes, we are started. To be quiet.
Yeah, Cameron said, yeah, we already started. So
I'm sorry.
my sister says hello.
I was playing with the dog.
Say hi to the world, sister.
Hello, world.
Hello, world.
Well,
So-
now that we go ahead, what you got going?
Well, I was just going to say, while we wait for our guest still, if he's not here yet, to talk about some of this virtual monster truck racing. You guys watched any of this?
I have not. I can't seem to ever get it to stream right. It's real, my technical difficulties. But I heard your boy and daughter-in-law were racing their little butts off in it, though.
They did. It was actually kind of cool. They did a full-on Monster Jam show, and Shane, you'll like this. It was from Tampa, and it was our tour, so they had to drive trucks from our tour. So Nick and Kristen did it. They were in Skirmigator and Wolf's Head, of course, and John Zimmer Jr. was doing it. Did really well. Kristen's little brother Joey actually drove Scarlet. And did pretty good. It was pretty neat. It's amazing how real them trucks look in them shows. And they did full on fan judging and everything. It was a cool show to watch. It was a little hard to see at times, but tell you what, I'm glad I didn't have to fix any of the trucks they were running. Boy, they were not afraid to launch them across the floor.
Awesome. Hey,
Well,
hey, Mason, real quick.
Go ahead.
Are you able to watch this stream live on Facebook on any one of your devices?
Oh yeah, we're going.
Okay, because mine's saying it's having an error loading. But I'm
No,
not
we're-
sure.
We're about going here and keep things going. Why don't we go ahead and bring on our special guest today with John Gordon, driver of Bad Company.
one, the only John Gordon. How are you, sir?
What's up, Cam?
How you
Shane
been?
and Mason, how you guys doing?
Doing all right. All
Good,
right.
man. Check out that quarantine beer.
Yeah, man. So
I
you know,
like it,
obviously
dude.
everything's closed, so kind of just letting her flow. The hair's a little long, the beard's a little wild, but hopefully everything will open back up before we get to go do a show.
So you're saying you brought the sexy tonight?
Pretty much. I mean, I always bring that. You know that, Cam.
Well, it kind of hurts my feelings because normally I'm the eye candy, but you're kind of stealing it tonight.
It's all right. We'll let you have it still.
Did you bring your drink with you for the evening?
I did in a fancy bag company koozie, which might I add, they're available online at bcmonstertruck.com.
Plug.
Plug.
Yeah, we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Well, so I guess first thing we'll just start off with the obvious question: how's quarantine going in there?
It's I don't know. Everybody's mad at our governor because he opened the state back up or is wanting to. You know, I don't really know what to think of it all. It's definitely a crazy time right now, but I just hope that before later or sooner than longer that we get back to a normality.
Right. Well, everybody hopes that. Well, let's go ahead and dive right into it. Now, everybody watching, they all know that you were at one time you were the crew chief, son of a digger, and Ryan Anderson, and now have transitioned to being a driver of your own team. Tell us how that kind of worked. How you went from being a crew guy to being a driver, and how that helped you be a better driver, knowing so much about the truck.
You know what, man? I mean, I grew up around racing, and I started off junior dragster racing when I was 8 years old. And me and my mom traveled around everywhere, while my dad went with my brother to baseball games. We went to the drag strip with my uncle and my cousin, and we raced everywhere. Well, most of the drag strips around here got closed down, so me and my dad started mud racing. And luckily, I was able to meet the Andersons and start a relationship with them. And they've been more than awesome to us, and they really got my foot in the door with monster trucks. Like you said, I went and crewed for Ryan. I was on the road with Ryan and Brandon Benson for 3 years, and man, we had a great time. But all of that, I think, has helped me because, you know, you learn the truck inside and out, and then when you get inside the truck, you really know what the problem is as the problems occur. So I think a lot of that has to do with some of the success we've had. But you know, I've got some awesome people behind me. My team's awesome, and I can't wait to get back out there.
Well, now you say that working on the truck has helped you knowing what's going on, and I mean, obviously, being Ryan's crew guy, there's not going to be too many problems you haven't seen. But how hard was it to get comfortable? Was this something where you able to just climb in the truck and just go right away, or did it take a lot of time to really get the feel of it and know what you're feeling?
You know, I think coming from crewing on the truck helps a lot, but I think it hurts as well because when a problem starts to arise, instead of just saying, "Oh well, it'll be all right," it's in the back of your head that you got to fix that. You fixed that before, you got to fix it again, and you don't want to put your crew guys through that. You know, some nights you just got to let it go and sorry about the luck, but you know, you got to drive with your head, and that's one of the downfalls is you know how much work's involved when something does start happening, but at the same time, it allows you to respect your truck, and I think you can do a awesome show and not tear up a lot.
Right. Mason, do you have a question, bud?
Actually, yeah. I was actually pretty curious about your new team member with Brian Mays and the Fast Metal Monster truck. I got to see that truck come out this year, at least online. It looked really awesome. Also heard about the new trailer. I was really looking forward to seeing the new trucks and seeing a new trailer down in Tucson, Arizona before that show got shut down for not just our team and your team, but basically everybody and all the fans. But my question to you, how is it now having two trucks, not just only your own, but is that harder on you and Matt and the other guys, or how do you manage all that?
You know, so this year we had Matt, Bobby Baggett, and myself on the road full time, and then Brian Mays flew in. For those of you that don't know Brian Mays, he was a crew guy for Lee O'Donnell. He actually won the freestyle the same year that me and Ryan won, or Ryan and I won the racing world finals out in Vegas. So I've known Brian for a while. That was a pretty good gig. He did well. He really started coming around at the end. His performance got better and better every weekend. So the 2-truck thing, obviously it's double the work, double the parts, but we had a good success rate with it, I think, and I would venture to say that you'll probably see 2 trucks from us again.
Okay.
Yeah, that's awesome. So John, my question is kind of geared off of, a little bit of experience doing some shows with you and stuff like that. And I saw, we didn't get to run with you. I kind of bounce around crews and stuff. So I noticed when one show that we did at Chicagoland Speedway for Monster Truck Throwdown, you were practicing your backflip skills with a loader. And I was just wondering if that kind of gave you some confidence to, nail your first career highlight with nailing that first backflip off the 8-pack. Was wondering if maybe your skid steer experience, being upside down and stuff helped you with that.
Yeah, Shane, you would have to bring that one up. That was definitely a long night. Yeah, about that. That may or may not have happened.
I think you got to share the story with the class.
I don't think there's really any proof that the skid steer did not roll over out of the back of the trailer or that it did. So with that being said, yes, Shane, I practiced backflips and a skid steer at a show one time, and everything was okay. Nobody got hurt. No equipment got damaged. It's all good.
Well, that was see, I'm glad you shared the story, and I got you sweating a little bit. But did that prepare you for nailing it? Because man, when we saw it on the YouTubes and everything, you nailing that 8-pack backflip in your freestyle run, man. Props to that for sure. But how did you feel leading up to that? The skid steer thing. I'm sure your equilibrium was all good. But I was just, how did it feel leading up to hitting that 8-pack? Were you just like, I'm going for it? Or, what kind of confidence did you have because of the skid steer?
That was one of my favorite runs this far in my career for sure in St. Louis that night. But it seems that I always seem to have a better run when something happens right before the run. And I kind of just don't care about anything at that point. Me and Matt and James, he was actually with us at that show. Most of y'all know him as Doobie. He was, we were out back changing a transmission right before freestyle. We went out in 2-wheel skills, and I just kind of went out there, and I'd been wanting to hit it all year, and it looked like an awesome one. The way they built that one that weekend, man, the transition was perfect. And we had one more like that this year, and I really wanted to hit it with some momentum and try it again, but the way it was placed on our tour this year, it was right against the sideline, so you really couldn't get a run at them. I was really hoping for, some of the summer shows for the 8-pack to be back towards the middle of the floor so you could hit it with some speed, because our tour, like I said, we were right on the sideline all year, and you really had to hit them slow and steady. But, the mini flip to me is still the most fun flip there is. I like the containers. I like the trench boxes, but to me, the mini flip is just so quick and smooth that's usually my go-to.
Yeah, right on. Well, it was awesome.
Well, something we like to do on here, John, is we like to try and be very interactive and let people come in and comment and have conversations with you and ask you questions. So let's go to that, guys. See what we got. People are saying to Mr. John Gordon.
We actually have one from Dawn Cretan, and she's asking, what is your best 2-wheel move?
We know, Don, we had the 2-wheel club this year. Or I didn't have it this year with you. And because of that, I had to really step it up because I had nobody in my club. So the bicycle was my go-to move this year. It worked out a lot, and it didn't work out a few times, but that's part of it. 2-wheel is obviously my least favorite thing there is in a show. But, one day maybe we'll just go out there in the field and practice and get it all figured out. It's definitely hard on parts right before freestyle. And I'd much rather go out there and put on a show for freestyle than do a stoppie for 2 minutes at 2-wheel skill.
Well, I can tell you Dawn stepped up her 2-wheel. was rocking. So it's
I
glad.
actually saw that. I seen Don roll right over in two wheel. I think we should probably be playing a clip of that right now. I think Don was really thrilled.
We've got Wi-Fi connection problems. We can't play that right now, but we'll future show.
All right, we have another one from Nick Miguez, and he's asking, why did the fuel cell catch on fire in Vegas last year? He's talking about the All-Star event.
Yeah, speaking of Jimmy Cretin, that was the night I let my inner Jimmy Cretin come out with the tech officials. Jimmy caught me well last year being on tour with him all year, but I guess the ground strap was loose and the O-ring was bad in the fuel cell. The cap was on, it was tight, but the O-ring wasn't sealing anymore, and I guess I don't know, freak accident, wasn't meant to be.
Well,
Right.
speaking of that, let's talk real quick about bringing up Jimmy Cretin. So last year we got to be on tour with you, and you had just come out with a brand new truck, and you struggled at first. You had your issues fighting the new truck blues, but as first quarter went on, you started rocking. I mean, you started coming along. You laid down some of the best freestyles I've ever seen. Now, compare going into last first quarter with one brand new truck to going into this first quarter with the truck broke in. You knew what you were doing. You knew what to expect. How different was that mentality and that approach going into this first quarter as opposed to last year?
Man, it was awesome. This year I was really enjoying the year. It's a shame it got cut short. I think we were either fifth or sixth in points at the last show, and we had a bad outing the second show in El Paso. The weatherman called for rain the entire time. I changed gears hoping that it was going to rain, and as soon as we pulled out for intros, it pretty much quit raining, and that's all there was for the rain. It started raining a little bit during freestyle, and it helped some for that, but for racing, man, we were out. So I think that show was our last point show. I think we fell from fourth place to sixth place, and it's part of it. We were ready to gain some ground back, but COVID-19 cut us a little short, so there's always next year, I guess.
All right. One from Elliot Miller. John, do you ever plan on having surgery to lift your eyelids up? Looks like it's hard for you to see through there sometimes.
Yeah, actually, Elliot, I talked to a surgeon not long ago, and he said if I could find one more person to go with me, he'd do buy one, get one free. So, the monster truck life's tough right now, so the budget's tight. So I was going to see if you'd go in with me. We'd split it 50-50 and be like we're both getting half off.
Get your eyelid surgery sponsored by Monster Truck Throwdown.
Yeah, that would be a great call, Cam.
Yeah.
We could do that, and then I could run a bigger sticker.
I think the Monster Cash should make that connection.
Yep.
Yep. Another one from Mike Langford. He's asking, what's the nightlife like in Syracuse, New York?
Just don't go where the taxi driver takes you. And when you're walking down the street and you run into a bunch of fellow Monster Jam friends, do not go with them, and you'll be all right. It's almost like the nightlife in Biloxi or Pensacola. That's where it was.
Yeah. Pensacola on the beach. Yeah, I remember that.
Or Anaheim, or St. Louis, or El Paso, or any other city we go to.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. One from Ricky Yasko asking, what's a good show to watch on Netflix right now?
There's a lot of backstory to that one, Richie. But, I heard the new show Outer Banks is good. Try that one. Stephen Thompson has some great recommendations as well. Get with him.
I go with Ozark.
Never watched it.
I highly recommend it.
I don't usually watch much, but I've heard that the Outer Banks show is a good one to watch. Heard it's the new crave of Netflix.
All right, so I got one. I'd like to know how's your number one crew chief, Handsome Matt? How's Handsome Matt doing in the quarantine?
Matt's doing good. Me and him and I got some side by sides, and I actually totaled mine this weekend. Turns out the side by sides aren't near as tough as a monster truck. And if you roll down a hill and hit a tree with them, it bends the frame and more or less totals it. Waiting on insurance to come look at that. Bobby Baggett, he's went back home for a little while. He's helping his dad out with some work. His dad's extremely busy, so that worked out well in our downtime. But right now, me and Matt are just piddling around the shop, doing what we can, and hopefully we'll get to go run some trucks soon.
Right. Now you and Matt been friends for a long time, right? Like you're almost family, right?
Yeah, I got to know Matt through mud racing, so I've known Matt for a while now, and he actually lives right down the road from me. If I wasn't so lazy, I could walk to his house, but usually I drive. But
Right.
definitely
Well,
walking.
I was trying to find out some information on him, so I could ask some more detailed questions, and all I could find was a couple of pictures of you guys. One, I think I thought he was your family by the picture that I found. I sent it over to our engineer. I'm sure he's probably scrambling and searching for it right now, but
I think you mean this one, right?
yeah, there it is. It's about the only one I could find of you guys. John, can you explain when this one was taken?
Yeah, that was we'll go with that was Thanksgiving 2018, I think.
Yeah.
We had a family photo day, and we had a guy come out and take photos, and we all wore matching sweater vests. Can't believe you dug that one up there, Shane.
Yeah, well, hey, I do my research. I take this.
I'm actually going to need you to send me that so I can. I lost my copy of it, and I'm going to need to
Did
hang
ya?
it up in the shop. Yeah,
That'll be no problem. It'll be in your inbox by the end of the show.
All right, I'll
leading
hang it
up
up
to that-
over his toolbox for him.
Well, and anybody doesn't know who Big Matt is. If you ever go to a show and John Gordon is driving, Big Matt is the 10 gallons of man stuck in a 5-gallon bucket of sexy.
That's right. Yeah. And I know you guys were friends and stuff, and I was, I'm glad you got a laugh out of that picture. I worked on it, sending stuff, trying to find good pictures for Mason to make that one up for us. And it reminds me of a story of seeing how you guys are and why you're so successful is because you have such a good friendship. And I believe it was in Elkhorn. We went to the fair, and you won him the big horse stuffed animal. And and there's another snap of it there. But when you made him get his caption portrait picture drawn with there it is with the horse, that story always sticks in my mind. But and I know you guys gave the stuffed animal away to a little kid, a little fan and stuff. But where is that picture now? Is that hanging in y'all's shop, or is it hanging in the toter with you? You bring it everywhere with you?
That picture actually rides up and down the road in the toter home with us still, and whenever we need a laugh, we dig it out.
Yeah,
that was awesome. I think it was the last show we were at. I was cleaning out a cabinet in the toter home, and I found it. And there was a bunch of people on our tour that had not seen it, and they really got a kick out of it too. But the lady really put the details in the jaws, and I think that's what really sets it off.
That's what makes him so handsome, right?
All right. Let's see if we got a few more questions going on. Here's one from Kyle Bucket Seasock. He's wondering if your scooter skills have improved since El Paso.
My scooter skills were great in El Paso, Kyle. That was your teammate Richie that went down in El Paso. I actually survived all year without a crash. My bad crash was last year in San Diego. That I tried doing pit party with sunglasses on to cover the black eye and a hand taped up, but it was a really good time. Even though some people thought I died, I didn't. I made it, and I now own my own scooter, so they can't charge me for totaling one of theirs anymore.
Well, I would just like to see at that show in San Diego when you crashed. Later on, I rode around the parking lot and did not crash, much to the surprise of everyone there.
Yeah, Cam did well. He was actually going in between the trees in the parking lot in San Diego, which are nice trees while we're there, but I think they're usually used as a bum's porta potty.
Yep.
During the rest of the year. a really great place.
Yeah, that was fun place, and like I said, everybody thought for sure I was going to die. So just throw that out there.
You did well, Cam. I was impressed.
Thanks, John.
We have another one actually from the Crunch This Podcast guys. How are you, by the way? And their question is, how long are you going to let that beard grow for? Does it ever get caught when you're putting your helmet on?
No, it never gets caught with the helmet. Put the face sock on first, and it tucks up real nice, and it's good to go. No, it's getting a cut as soon as somebody opens up a barber shop around this place.
Well, I think
Shelter
Cheech
in
is
place
just
is
jealous he can't grow facial hair.
Do what now?
I said I think Cheech is just jealous because he can't grow facial hair.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if do pandas grow facial hair?
Well,
I don't think they do.
I think it just comes in and it gets to a certain length and it stops. And I think to rub it on a tree makes it wear back off. They don't even need to shave it.
There you go. Panda science from Cam.
See, the History Channel does pay off every now and again.
That Net Geo.
That, and I watched the Kung Fu Panda movie.
There you go. That's a real.
That's the real history behind my knowledge.
There you go.
What else you got?
Something else you like not too many questions going on right now, but what we like to do in this podcast also to help let the fans know more about everybody is we like to talk about some good old road stories that we have on, whether it's been from years past or this year. But do you have any good road stories between you, Matt, and your team this year? Or? Hang on 1 second. Your mic cut out there.
Can you hear me now?
There you are. Welcome back.
We were in Anaheim this year, and we decided to buy some Lime scooters of our own. And we found a guy about an hour down the road, so we got a 15-passenger van. And we went, and I think we initially bought 8 of them. And the guy came back the Saturday of the show and sold 28, I think it was. So pretty much everybody on our tour this year had scooters. So we were the Scooter Gang tour, and we went everywhere on those scooters. A lot of places are actually way more friendly to the scooters than you think. We were allowed to park them inside at most restaurants, so we didn't have to worry about them getting stolen, and that was our transportation for the year.
Holy cow.
Everybody got one. Cody got one. All the Feld guys. It was a good time. It was kind of dangerous. Ryan Dishroon, he was on our tour this year, and we rode to a skate park on him, thinking that would be a good idea. It was one of the worst ideas we had this year, and Ryan went down harder on the way to the skate park than he did once we got to the skate park. So that was pretty in itself.
Well, now Anaheim's always kind of expensive for you because if I remember right, last year in Anaheim, you went to the hobby store and spent a bunch of money on RCs.
Yeah, I've grown out of the RC stage, aka Ryan was not on our tour to influence bad decisions on RC cars this year. Nobody was really playing with RCs this year, so that really helped my bank account out. Thankfully, so we're out of work now.
So you bought a Razor.
That was before we left, Cam. And it's a Can-Am, okay? It's not a Razor.
Oh, I apologize.
Yeah, get it right.
Yeah, I didn't do my research. I forgot to read your Wikipedia. I didn't have time.
Yeah, it's okay. It's really short. There's not much about me.
Just
so hey John, about this year, I don't know if everybody knew. I'm pretty sure everybody knew, but you were going to have a driver come in when your first quarter started, and unfortunately, he sustained an injury. How much of a scramble was that? I'll let you tell the story, but how much of a scramble was that for you on your team? Was it just as much as it was for our team?
Yeah, it was definitely an interesting turn of events for sure. the biggest thing was trying to find somebody that was Monster Jam approved and willing to work with us with our schedule, with it being so late in the game. We had a lot of great people approach us, but they could do a show here and a show there, and they were already committed to some other stuff. So Brian worked out really well. He was open for every show, so we were able to set the truck up for one driver and build off that versus pulling somebody in and out every weekend, which is really a tough struggle, especially once you start changing seats and everything. It starts to wear on the crew, and it's tough for anybody to get adjusted to a truck and then hop out of it and then try to come back in. It's a difficult thing for everybody.
Yeah, our team struggled with that, as you know, kind of the same thing with the drivers that were, kind of couldn't commit to all of them. So we had to find somebody to fill in and stuff. And from what I hear, he's doing great. He's feeling a lot better. He's on the mend. So do you guys plan on working together again in the future, or?
Buddy's a great guy, and I like Buddy's driving style. It's aggressive, but he's not really extremely hard on parts, and Buddy's clean and takes pride in his ride. So that's one of the big things. Everybody that takes pride in their ride, it shows, and it goes further than you think. What Buddy's got going on right now, I don't know, but we could definitely probably use him somewhere in the future, I'm sure. Buddy's a great guy. Glad to see he's getting.
He sure is. And being around the shop with him and stuff like that, he was really excited. He was really stoked about that. And, just fortunate events, fluke things. But glad you guys weathered the storm. We tried our best and did our best. And most important, Buddy's on the mend. He's going to be 100% here real soon.
Yeah, that's definitely about that.
Well, and Brian Mays does a great job. He actually, people don't know, it actually started out in our team years ago. Started out as a crew guy, moved into a driver, and did a great job. And he was another one we were sorry to see go. He started really coming around and learning how to take control of the truck, and like you're saying, take pride in it, not destroy it every time it goes out, but put on a show. And so he's a good one to have in there as well.
For sure. There's a lot of great drivers out there, man. And the bad part is a lot of times the schedules and the locations don't work for a lot of them. So that's the toughest thing about it. Being an East Coast team like we are and being out west all year, that really put a burden on things. But everybody gets those schedules every now and then. So be thankful the shows you got and do them to the best of your ability and go on.
Got a few more questions in now. One from Tim Mente. He asked, while I'm only a few years away from getting my ARP card, I'm wondering if you have gotten your white New Balance sneakers broke in yet.
Tim, I do not own a set of white New Balance, but we did have this conversation of once you hit a certain age, you wear white New Balances and you use them for everything, cutting grass, weed eating, barbecue. And we were all joking about this in Houston this year, and as soon as Tim got home, he sent me a picture of a brand new pair of white New Balances that his wife had so graciously bought him and placed right on his dresser for him to start wearing. So I think Tim's definitely at the age now where he's got to wear the white New Balances everywhere he goes.
Well, personally, I think his wife should have saved the money on the shoes and bought him a belt.
Now you're implying that Tim's pants come down and he would make a good plumber, Cam. That's not nice to do.
Hey, team butt crack.
Maybe the belt isn't comfortable for him.
It's hard to find one in a 46 wide.
Oh man, Tim does have the plumber characteristic, but Tim's as good as they come. That's for sure.
Oh, he's gold. I mean, he is pure gold, but just sometimes shows too much of it.
That's a fact.
I have another one here from Levi Shones, and he's asking, what is your favorite part about your truck?
Personally, the favorite part of that truck is, the wiring that we did. I was really thrilled to be able to try the Race Pack Smart Wire in it. And it honestly, to this point, knock on wood, it's left us with one problem, and we chased that problem. And as 90% electrical problems are, all it was a ground. So really tickled to death at how well the wiring has worked in that truck, being something that really isn't in the monster truck scene. Going out on a limb and trying that, and the guys at RacePack have been awesome. They've stood behind everything. I had a run that got cut short this year, and it was a judgmental call, and I didn't think it was the right call. And unfortunately, as I was cutting the truck off, I may have hit the switches a little hard to cut them off and broke one of the switches. And we went to El Paso thereafter and took it over to MSD, which is part of RacePack now, and they fixed the switch panel free of charge, and they were more than helpful with anything that we had question-wise going along the way. So that's definitely my favorite part of that truck is all the wiring in it.
Yeah. I got a question about your truck. Where did you come up with the graphic, with the cards and the eyeball and the wings and stuff like that? Is that something that you had in your mind for a long time, or how'd you come up with the graphic?
Actually, I had about zero say in the graphics on that truck, Shane. We got a guy over in Alabama, Chris Strength. He owns All Star Graphics, and we kind of got with him and told him what colors we wanted to use and where to go from there. And he did it all on his own, and we've been thrilled with how well everyone else has reacted to it. It definitely stands out with the neon orange, fluorescent orange, whatever you want to call it, and it definitely gets some attention. We've been really happy with it.
Yeah, when you came out with the, I think it was the second wrap, for your first quarter wrap, with the reflective material that showed up under a flash for a camera. There's some really, really sweet pictures of it out there. With that, man, you guys stepped up the game one step further. I didn't think the truck could look any nicer until you came out with that too. That was awesome.
Yeah, man, that was definitely a wild characteristic that Chris threw in there. He had some product left over from doing some signs, and he said, well, let's try it on the whole truck. So he got with 3M, and they sent over some stuff to try, and it worked out awesome. We still do it occasionally, but it's definitely a little bit more expensive than the normal clear. So we only do it every now and then.
Right.
Yeah. Here's an interesting one from Cody Saucier, and he's asking you, are you able to speak about your blower injection ignition and your ignition, etc.?
Yeah, Cody, man, we can talk about all that. If you want to come up to the shop, you're more than welcome to tear it down. Like I've told you before, it is a 565. That's inside the guidelines. It's an 871 standard helix. That's inside the guidelines. It's 10% overdrive inside the guidelines. 20 amp mag. There's no questions about that. It's 100% legal, Cody. You're just upset you ain't ever got to feel the power of it.
Sounds like there's some inside stuff going on there, guys.
Cody always told me I had the Cheetah Penda Series motor in the truck this year, but I don't know why I'm worried about it because I think he was fast qualifier or second fast every weekend and in the finals just about every weekend, if not every weekend. That dude's extremely talented and fast behind the wheel. I can watch him run all year and just never even run my truck and be happy because that dude is extremely talented. That's for sure.
Yeah. And the most modest person you will ever meet in the world.
Yeah, that's
right.
For sure.
He definitely got there the right way, and it's been awesome to watch him and run with him all year.
You know, I do kind of like it when he breaks the truck, so that way we can watch Jeff in action too. You know, because Jeff's pretty awesome too.
Well, I've been fortunate enough that I've known Cody since Cody used to crew for Damon Bradshaw and John Seasock back in the day, and to watch him climb in the truck like I have with a lot of you young guys, watch you guys all move into trucks and become the drivers and the thing that you are, has been quite impressive, and it's enjoyable. I mean, I love watching you guys get better and better and better. And then you push the older guys more and more. I mean, Jimmy and Jim Kohler and Tom Ince, you guys make them earn it now a lot more than they used to have to. I mean, it's the talent out right now is just unbelievable.
For sure. We got to run Tom all year this year as well. And, man, he may be getting old, but that dude's still crazy. And, you know, I could watch, like you said, Tom and Jim and Jimmy, all those guys, all the veterans of the sport, it's really crazy to watch them and their driving style compared to a bunch of the newer stuff now. It's everything's neat in its own way, and there's definitely some differences, but a lot of similarities. And Jimmy will definitely put on a show when you're least expecting it out of nowhere. That's for sure. And I've watched Cam have to fix a bunch of that stuff from those random shows.
Yeah, I paid for it in the end.
Yeah. One question going on to talking about different driving styles and different drivers, whether they're old or new. Is there a specific like driving style that you maybe picked up from other drivers that you've watched yourself, or you just made your own and stuck with that and ran it since?
I definitely think the who you watch and who you favor influences you more than you even realize. I've had a lot of people tell me that the fast-paced driving style is more my style, and I personally, that's what I shoot for. The biggest thing I hate is a point and shoot freestyle that's idle around and aim for a big hill and then just hold the gas wide open. I'd rather have a lot of ground speed and hit whatever obstacle comes up, whatever angle it's on. But a lot of times I do try to square up more than I'd like to, just for the simple fact of saving parts. But it's definitely I'd like to say that I'm a high momentum driving style. That's what I shoot for, anyways.
Okay.
Well, and you do carry a lot of momentum, but you are very technical too, and that's cool to see the combination of both. That you can do both. You don't always have to be on the rampage edge to put on a show. You can be technical but fast at the same time.
For sure, I think the best example of that's Ryan. I crewed for Ryan, and everybody talks about how much he tears up, but if you watch what Ryan really does and the amount of stuff he tears up, it's really minimal for what he puts that truck through. And that dude is fast paced, on the edge the whole time, but somehow still in control.
Absolutely.
Hey, John. So we all saw you on Dirty Mudder Truckers driving the King Sling. Is that something you're going to do? Continue doing in the mega truck world? Or are you going to stay strictly monster trucks? What you got planned? Anything?
Oh man, we definitely started in the mud. That's how I got to where I am, and honestly, that's how I met Dustin as well, is through mud racing. And there's nothing I love more than mega truck racing. Right now, there's just not any of it to be had, and I ran that truck for Dennis and Teeny and them on the Dirty Mudder Truckers episode. Teeny was actually supposed to run both of them, and they wouldn't let him run both of them. So Dennis was still on the mends of getting healed up. So I went down there and ran that truck for them, and it was a blast. That's definitely probably one of the best landing trucks I've ever been in. I drove about 3 or 4 shows in it for them, and that thing's awesome. But it's actually one of the things I've been working on while we're in the downtime is putting the mega truck back together. And crashed it down there at Hogweiler, and can't wait to go to another mega truck race here soon. Hopefully sooner than later.
Yeah, awesome.
Well, you mentioned Dustin, who's actually, as people that know, is one who owns your trucks. How did that deal come about? I mean, how did you approach him about the building, or he approached you, or if you don't mind? I mean, how did that dynamic work, and how's it been working running somebody else's trucks like that?
I met Dustin through racing. He's got a little race team called Loose Cannon Racing. He's always been into racing to some aspect. Him and his mom and dad actually used to all race straight line rails, mud rails back in the day. And as he got out of that, he got into dirt track racing, and then he kind of circled back around to mega trucks. And I got to know him through the mega truck scene, and he, we really just kind of hit it off. And he's a super great guy that's always been into racing, and so he said that Loose Cannon needed a monster truck, so we got a monster truck now, and haven't really looked back since, and it's been an awesome time.
Mm-hmm. Got a question from Nick Miguez again, and he's questioning you, what's your favorite show or memory?
Definitely from a driver's aspect, favorite memory would just probably be the feeling after St. Louis doing that backflip. It was the first forward momentum backflip but it was also my first backflip. So that definitely sticks out still. And as far as from a crew aspect, it would be Syracuse, New York, when Ryan had arguably one of the best freestyle runs probably ever. I think it's probably got more views on YouTube than any other Monster Jam freestyle run. And just to be the little part of that I was, that was probably the highlight from crewing.
Would that have been the one where he stood on the nose for days and halfway around the arena? Oh yes,
Yep.
that
was it. You were there.
Yes, I was. That was. Yeah, I'm not gonna disagree with you. That was an amazing freestyle.
Yep, that was one of those where every bounce just led to an even cooler bounce.
You do no wrong in that run.
That's right.
Continuing on from that question, we have one from Kyle Bucket. He's asking, do you have a favorite moment from tour, before or after the show or during the show?
Man, we had a lot of good times. One of my favorite moments, probably, it was my least favorite at the same time, was when we got put in our EEIC situation this year. And it was I thought there was a threat inside the building. Thankfully, there wasn't. But security had to check the building out and everything. But I really don't know how much stuff you can come up with sitting in a locker room with everybody on tour. And there's some good stories to be told when that many people are sitting there with nothing else to do.
See. Well, here's a good, interesting one. It's from Sam Hollander, and he's asking, how was driving Scooby-Doo in 2018?
Scooby-Doo in 2018, that was I got a lot of crap for that, being the first male driver of Scooby-Doo. But see, for the people that really follow monster trucks, I was actually the second male driver for Scooby-Doo. Brandon Vinson was the first. He drove overseas in Scooby-Doo. And then shortly after that, I had my friend Steve Sims join me, finishing out the tour in Scooby-Doo. So by the end of that year, there was 2 male drivers in Scooby-Doo. I had a great time running with Kohler's team. Me and Corey, we've been friends for a long time through the mud truck racing stuff. And as I think y'all had Corey on the other weekend, Corey's definitely a great guy and very talented as well. So just kind of getting my feet wet in that truck was definitely a fun experience, and I'm definitely thankful for it.
Well, I got to ask him, if you're going to bring up Corey and some other guys, who at this point, who is somebody that you just want to beat so bad, or you've already beat him multiple times, you want to keep beating them? I mean, who is your personal rival that you just can't wait to line up next to and take bragging rights away?
Man, there's a few for sure. Definitely one would be Cody. We raced one time so far, and that was at the All-Star race out in Vegas. And we both got in trouble for our staging battle. They said the staging duel was going on way too long. But the way I look at it is that's part of racing. Ryan, he's definitely up there too. I've only got to race him one time. I had that Joker beat the whole race until the last turn. I drove in way too deep. It was the finals, and I think it was Santa Clara. You were there, Cam.
Yeah.
And that was definitely a fun one. And Camden Murphy, that dude has my phone number. He has beat me every time we've ran. And dang it, I just want to run him and beat him one time. I think I've ran him more than anybody else, more consecutive times. And I think we lined up like 2 or 3 times this year in the second round. And it was like the ladder always fell perfect where it was me and him. And we had a couple close races, and I just really want to beat that guy. He's definitely fast. I don't know. I think it's something to do with the NASCAR stuff and the Chicago style, the left turns. I don't know. But he's got something figured out. He's got an officer crew chief, John Fitchett, as well, man. Definitely one of the best in the business that's left with the company, and definitely hope they bring him back when all this comes back around.
Well, we both had him on tour last year, and he was very hard to beat last year. That kid does not make a mistake. And I'm not blowing smoke or trying to kiss anybody's butt. That kid when it comes to racing, if you don't go perfect and make your fastest fast of the night, you're not going to beat him.
He's definitely a perfect example of smooth as fast. He's one of the
Yes.
smoothest racers there is. Cam, he actually struggled a little bit the first of the year this year, and it was kind of crazy, but it didn't take him long to get right back in, and he was back to, I think it was him and Cody in the finals more than anybody this year, and him and Cody were always an awesome race to watch for sure.
All right. Got at least a few more questions here before we end it out here. Reaching the hour mark. Got a few more ones from Levi Jones, and he's asking JT Schmitz or Hooters?
I don't really know what I feel like JT Schmitz. Is that the place in Anaheim?
It's right across,
with the
across the street.
6-pound cheeseburger.
Well, I mean, if we're going for scenery, Hooters. If we're going for food, probably JT Schmitz. But unfortunately, I've ate at both of those places too much. I feel like if I had a third home, I've lived in Georgia my whole life, except for when I was up in North Carolina with Ryan and them. I never lived there full time, but besides for Georgia and North Carolina, I've spent more time in Las Vegas and Anaheim than anywhere else. So I've had my fair share of both of those places too much. So definitely interested to find something better when we go back.
Good one from Ed Beckley, and he's questioning, can you beat Larry Quick in a freestyle?
Never got to run with Larry Quick in a freestyle, so have to get a show together and see who comes out on top.
All right. Looking at a few more here. Another one from Timothy Solano, and he's wondering, what's John's favorite city to race in and why?
That's a tough one for sure. I would like to say Atlanta, Georgia, but we've never got to do that show, so hopefully we'll get to that one day. As far as all the shows together, bigger venues and smaller venues, one of them got to be Benson, North Carolina, up there at the Galat Motorsports Park. Those people are some of the nicest people you'll ever do a show with. That's one of the year-end Monster Truck Throwdown shows. We've been there the last 2 years and can't wait to go back this year. They've got an awesome facility. And they're some of the nicest people you'll ever do a show for.
Interesting. One from Alexander Parrish, and he's asking, so I'll ask about the Mini Monster. Are there any plans about that or anything to say about it?
Right now we just moved it out of the shop the other day for a little bit more room. Got a little things to button up on it. It's definitely a different animal for sure than anything I've ever seen as far as a mini monster truck. A lot of people have asked questions about it. It's got custom 14 bolts front and rear and 525 horse LS3 in it. And a bunch of people have had their hands involved in working on that thing, but it's pretty much done. Just got to find the right opportunity to take it out and let Dustin Sun play in it.
Okay. Two interesting ones from Tom Dixon and Jeff Sin. One from Tom saying, how about them scooters? The other one from Jeff Sin following up with that is, tell us about the scooter game trip to the Cherry Pit.
Back to Anaheim.
See, like I said, I spent way too much time in Anaheim. Tom Dixon was definitely one of the ones that enjoyed the scooter gang with us. He was on the initial purchase right away. He got in on the first date. But the scooter ride to the Cherry Pit was definitely a long haul for the scooters. It's further than we remembered. If you've ever seen Big Matt riding a scooter, he's very agile for a big man. And he did not see the curb this year, kind of like I did in San Diego, but somehow he went for a full-on scooter grind slide down the curb. One of the coolest scooter tricks I've ever seen in life, and somehow did not die. And I'm pretty sure that's probably what Jeff is referring to, is Jeff was right behind him when that happened, and we all thought Matt died, and he took off running and somehow hopped right back on the scooter like it never happened.
Well, I think the next time the scooter gang gets together, there has to be body cam.
I think that's definitely I think every scooter should have a GoPro mounted on it. I'll tell you another one that's very interesting to watch is Cliff Thomas. Cliff Thomas is of the older age now, but he definitely will rip a scooter harder than anybody else. Did some quite impressive wall rides while we were in Arlington, Texas, underneath some of the bridges, and almost died a couple times. But I think that guy's got like 9 lives like a cat. I think it's something to do with North Carolina. Him and Cole both. Cole, I've seen him where he should have died numerous times last year or 2 years ago when we were on tour with him, and somehow just keeps living.
Yeah, see, I think you need to have a GoPros, if nothing else, so you guys can show the paramedics what happened. They know what to work on first.
Yeah, that's probably a good point. It's definitely not the safest investment we've made, but I think I may drive mine home tonight. Just sitting there ready, on charge. Haven't got to ride it in a while.
Yeah, I think it's time.
Well, here's one from Timothy Solano, and he's questioning: does John drive a custom lifted truck, or is he a Geo Metro guy?
I drive a 2500 Duramax. It's lifted, but nothing custom, just bolt-on stuff. Definitely, I would actually love to drive a Geo Metro if you know where any are for sale on a good deal. They're great on gas mileage, and if you get the four-wheel drive one, that thing will go anywhere. And they're quite impressive. I may or may not have had one at one point in my life.
And you just look good driving one.
Well, Cam, I like to think that, we're the type of guys that look good in anything.
We are. I mean, you squeeze us in anything. I mean, just imagine me, you, Matt riding around in a Geo Metro. I mean,
I think that's actually higher than the payload rating is rated for. So
that's fine.
Trailer to go behind it if we're all three riding.
Yeah, but that's where we just roll, dude. We're just 2 miles an hour, just cruising, just for the ladies to look and admire.
Definitely. I can see us. You know what? I'm gonna find us one. So the next time you're in town, we got something to ride around in. Hopefully, one. That way everybody can see us really well.
Oh, it's a date, and we're doing a GoPro.
Okay, you got to wear it.
Okay.
All right.
Well, looks like the last one here from William H. Dalton. He's saying, Cam is sexy.
Well, I don't know how to respond, but you're 100% correct.
Me and Howie were the part-time guys of North Carolina, and Howie's been doing part-time for I don't know how long now. But the first year I was up there, I met Howie, one of the nicest guys you'll meet, very, very intelligent, and for the longest time I didn't know he had a ponytail. And actually, I believe the first time I realized he had a ponytail was when we were in Vegas that same year. So it took all first quarter. And I did quite a few shows with him throughout first quarter to realize that he had a ponytail. And the only reason I caught him was I caught him slipping, retucking it up in his hat.
Yep.
During this quarantine, it's really made me think maybe I should grow a ponytail and tuck it up in my hat and see how long it takes people to notice.
I think you would look amazing with the ponytail, or just simplify. You're in Georgia, go rat tail.
Yeah, I'm gonna hang off on the rat tail. Maybe a mullet, but no rat tail here, Cam. No rat tail.
You got options. Well, Shane, do you have any more questions for our friend?
No. I'd just like to say, man, it's always fun being out there on the tour with you. Whether it's independent or the big show. Wish you the best of luck in the future, and I hope to get out there on tour with you again, and hope you get through your quarantine pretty good, and just tell Handsome Matt I said, hey.
Again, man, we can't wait to get back out there either. All y'all stay safe during this crazy time, and I guess stay 6 foot apart and wash your hands until they bleed or whatever, and try not to catch this coronavirus, and maybe we can all do a show soon.
Well, John, we want to thank you very much for doing the show, dude. It's been a blast. Can't wait to make it back down to Byram, hang out in the shop, and see if we can't do something stupid. But you guys be safe. Thank you very much, and hopefully we'll have you back on again to actually talk about some shows going on.
Heck yeah, man. Thank you guys for having us. We can't wait to see y'all again. Hopefully we'll see y'all at a summer show really soon.
Well, before you go, where can people, social media, Facebook pages, can everybody go to follow the Bad Company team and John Gordon and stuff?
Yep. BC Monster Truck will get you to any of those on all three of those that you just mentioned: Facebook, Safari, Google Chrome, Internet Explorer, whatever. And that other one, Instagram. That's BC Monster Truck as well.
All right, John. Well, tell the family I said hi, and thank you very much for being on, buddy.
Perfect. You guys be safe. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Thank you. All right. Well,
All right,
as we
guys.
close out the podcast here shortly, I'd like to actually give the stage to Shane here, as he'd like to plug in our new first sponsor.
Yeah, guys, if you guys like hot sauce, really good buddy of mine has a local company, local to Florida, called Spur Hot Sauce. It's a Florida-based company producing small batch vegetable-based hot sauce that brings flavor elements from the Southwest and the Southeast to all your favorite meals. Spur Hot Sauce incorporates Hatch green chilies from New Mexico, as well as the world's hottest pepper, the Carolina Reaper. This hot sauce comes in 3 different levels. 1 is a medium, 2 is a hot, and the 3X is above average hot. You can find him on Instagram and Facebook. And of course, here at MonsterCast, if for all you got hot sauce guys out there that like hot sauce, give him a try. He's actually a graffiti artist and has some really cool artwork. Tags all of his bottles with all of his tags and stuff like that, and has a pretty big following. And it's just a really cool company, and we're all about supporting local business. And he's actually given me some gear and some hot sauce to give away. We'll be having some contests and some other things going on. But go over and check him out on his social media pages, see what it's all about. And if you like hot sauce, man, give it a try, man. I just tried it today, and it's pretty awesome. He does all of his own bottling and all that kind of stuff right here local in Volusia County, Florida. So give him a shout. Check him out.
Well, that's awesome. It's cool to have our first sponsor, and I think we'll be doing some stuff with him later on in some future episodes. But also, I want to say before we end the podcast, if you guys have any suggestions, comments, or anything you want to tell us, just go to our Facebook page. Obviously, you guys know where it is at MonsterCast on Facebook, and let us know, whether you guys have a suggestion or you have certain questions you want to ask. I also want to mention Sunday at our Sunday Night Dinner Table episode this week. It'll be a special time. It'll actually be at 5 p.m. Central. We're going to have John Zimmer, driver of Dragon, and John Zimmer Jr., who has just been tearing up the virtual monster truck scene, and he's also the crew chief for Overboard and Black Pearl. So make sure you guys check that out Sunday. But something new we're going to try this week. If any of you guys have any cool pictures of whether it be Dragon or anything with John Zimmer Jr., email us this week at monstercast25@gmail.com, and maybe we'll use your guys' pictures and get a story out of John Zimmer this week. So once again, that's monstercast25@gmail.com. Send your pictures, or like I said, come to the Facebook page, send us some comments, or just tell us something you want to see, maybe a guest you want to see on here. So Shane, Mason, I want to tell you guys thank you very much. It was a great show. And thank you, everybody, for watching, and we'll see you guys soon.
Yeah, man. Everybody take it easy.
All right. Catch you guys later.
You're gonna take on the world someday. You got blood on your face. Your big